Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is Daniel Umstead, host of the RNG radio show. I'm really excited. It's been a while. If you've been following the videos, it's been a while since I had a guest on the show. But today, I have one of the prominent coaches out here in the industry, Mr. Bennett Schwartz. He's been in the educational world for about 10 years and decided to take that practice and apply it to the coaching world. So I'm really excited to have him on the show, share some practices, techniques, and tips, but most of all, get him on here to talk about more how he can empower your lives for the better. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please let me announce to the world, Mr. Bennett Schwartz. So Bennett, thanks so much for being on. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing great, Dan. Thanks so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here, and hopefully I could add some value to your audience.
Absolutely. So let's just start right away with it. Coaching, because everybody has this different notion. I'm in sports. There's that definition of coaching. Folks who are in real estate and they need a mentor or a coach. So there's that definition. Or somebody who is pretty much like holding people accountable for their actions. That could be a type of coaching as well. But from your experience, and I know you've been doing this for a while, what is your definition of coaching?
Yeah, so I'm really passionate about it. I love coaching. I was doing it unofficially for many years in the educational world, and the fact that there's this whole industry out there is really something it's so empowering to people, because people don't really understand, or people don't think that they necessarily need or want the help in order to achieve whatever it is that they want to do, whether it's in their businesses, whether it's in their health, whether it's just the lifestyle or relationship. There's so many different areas where you can actually have a coach. And having that person in your corner to really help you get the results that you're looking to get is something that's it's an investment that you have to make, but it's such a great investment because it helps you get there so much quicker. We sometimes tend to get ourselves stuck, and I was like this myself, where I felt like I needed to do more, I wanted to do more, but I was just stuck and not realizing that if I could just get somebody on my team who's looking out for my best interest, that person is going to help bring out the best in me and just help me get to wherever it is that I want to get to. And even just get clarity on it, whatever it is I want to get to, and then strategize and work with me and then hold me accountable, like you mentioned before, to really get to the results that I'm looking to get.
I love that. Now, in your experience, who actually needs a coach?
So what I like to say is that nobody needs a coach, right? The truth is we can all do things on our own. We can all figure it out, especially nowadays. You can YouTube anything. You can listen to podcasts, you can read books. Really, to get anything, the information's out there. The question is if somebody wants a coach or not. And somebody who would want a coach is somebody who's really looking to take their life seriously. It could be that they're burnt out already, or it could be that they're already on track, and what they want to do is, like Grant Cardone, they want to 10x their lives, and they really want to just take that next level and next step and realize that, having somebody on their team could really help, propel that and make it happen a lot quicker, and maybe even reach levels that they never thought that was possible.
I love that. And then we talked about this earlier, but there's different levels, but I need to know the difference, because there's consultants out here, there's therapists out here, and then of course there's coaches. What do you find to be the difference between them? I mean, outside of, the years of college for those who want to become a therapist, but what else do you see as differences?
Yeah, so I would say they're all within the same field of self-help and really helping people and really help people to get, past or through certain things. But I would say that the differences between, let's say, a coach, a consultant, and a therapist, because that's where I would say you have the most overlap, is that a consultant is there to give you answers. You look at a consultant as somebody who's going to map out the direction that you want to get to. If you want results in a certain way, they will tell you this is what you have to do, X, Y, and Z. And they'll come up with a plan for you and tell you, and it could be the same plan that they're telling all their clients, right? Whether it's based on their own experience or whether it's based on the education that they received, they know what you need to do in order to get results, and they're going to map out the plan for you. But then a lot of times with the consultant, they're just going to give you the instructions, and you're going to have to go figure it out. Maybe they'll be on for 6 months, 12 months, or whatever it is to help you get started, but they're really there just to map out the plan for you, and then really just, let go a little bit and help you, let you do whatever it is you need to do. On the other spectrum, you have a therapist, and most times people go to therapy, which is, I believe, is really is an amazing thing. And if people need it, maybe they don't need their, all the time, but throughout certain times in lives, people go through things, and there's this concept, there's the idea about therapy, like, oh, if you need therapy, then like you're really messed up. I just heard a really prominent coach on a podcast, and he's talking about like he and his wife go to like couples therapy every week. And the reason why he does that is because he really wants to work on himself, and he wants to work on his relationship, and wants to have the best relationship possible. And having a professional there also in your corner who knows how life works and how the relationship works, he says that this is the best investment I can make for me and for him and his wife. So a therapist a lot of times though wants to look back at like the past and wants to look back at the history. They want to go back to maybe your childhood or certain things that you went through, and they're trying to heal whatever it is that might have happened in the past. A coach, on the other hand, is a little bit of, I would say a little bit of both. There's a little bit of overlap, but as a coach, what I like to do is I like to get results for people. I'm looking into the future. I'm looking to see where do you want to go, get clarity on that, and then strategize in order to get there. And I would say the difference between a coach and a consultant is that a consultant, like I said before, is there to give you answers, while a coach is there to give you questions. A good coach is going to give you the space and the questions in order for you to come up with the ideas that you already need to know. Most of us, if we know where we want to go, know what we need to be doing next in our lives. Right? Whether it's on the surface level or whether it's deep down inside, we all know what it is that we're looking to do. And really a good coach, and what I like to do with like my high performers that I work with, is like I pull out what they need to do, and then we come up with a strategy in order to do that. And then I help hold them accountable so they can implement that. I had a great example. I had one client of mine who was looking to get into real estate, and he had this big debate. He didn't know if he wanted to go into a very hot market like Florida or Texas, or if you should go into somewhere in the Midwest, whether it's Cleveland or whether it was Connecticut. It's like somewhere like a little more low key, and each one has its pros and cons. And throughout our conversation, our first conversation, we were talking, I kept asking questions, and throughout the conversation, it came out that he kept going back to like the Connecticut, Cleveland area. And it was interesting. And at one point he's like, yeah, I think I want to invest there. And I'm like, did you just hear what you said? And he's like, oh my gosh, like I literally just gave myself the answer. And that's really the power of coaching, where we know what we want deep down inside, and really having a coach there to be able to pull out what it is that we're looking to accomplish, and then making the person aware. Because if I wouldn't have said like, take a second, pause, like repeat what you just said, he would never have caught it. And so many times we have that with ourselves, that we know what we want. And that power is really so powerful. And really that space, I would say, of giving the client and just letting them think and really come up with the answers themselves.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. And you talk about best, applying the best for oneself, as you gave the example of the therapist. And consistency plays a lot with that. Folks need to be consistent and persistent. Just the example you gave with the real estate individual, what is your tips and advice for that? Because people will say like, okay, every single day at 9 a.m., I'm going to spend 10 to 15 minutes in regards to real estate sector, or I'm going to spend 10 to 15 minutes on my craft. But things come up, we're dealing with somewhat of a pandemic, things are going crazy out in Texas. There's just so much going on that we get distracted. So I guess it's a two-part question. One, how do you continue with your consistencies? And then also, how do you get away from the distractions that may or may not affect you?
Yeah, for sure. That's a great question. And you would think that there's like just one answer to, to give it. And, as an educator, like I hate saying, oh no, there's actually, it depends, but I would say people are complicated. Right? We all know we all have our own things going on. We all have our different priorities, whether it's, family's number one, or work's number one, or religion's number one, whatever it is, we all have our different priorities. So I would say it really depends on the person. For some people, having that like really intense and strict schedule up to the minute is good for them. For other people, like they need the flexibility of knowing, okay, you know what, I have like this gap of time to get this thing done, and like I'm going to be more productive that way. So as a coach, and I would say that's another thing about a consultant knows what he knows, and he knows what steps need to be taken. But that might work for some people, but might not work for other people. So as a coach, you're really personalizing it to the person to see what works for them and what doesn't work for them. So whether you come up with, the KPIs that you need in order to accomplish whatever it is you're looking to do, and then coming up with the strategy, okay, what makes the most sense, right? If you're only looking to put in 4 hours a day of work, so that's very different than putting in 8 hours a day of work. And that lifestyle is really part of coaching. It's because you want the person to feel like they're not just focusing necessarily on one area of their life, but they're really living the life that they want to be living. Because at the end of the day, we're all working, we're all doing whatever we're doing for a purpose. And if you get down to the bigger purpose of what we're doing, there's more to it. So really living that lifestyle. So if the person only wants to work 4 hours, then maybe they need to be more strict. Or if the person's, no, I have 8 hours a day and that's plenty of time to get whatever it is I want to get done, then they could do it that way. But there's so many different strategies. One thing that I like doing is that I personally, like, I have my journal for those who are, who are watching the video. I saw this somebody do this on LinkedIn, and I loved it. And he has in the back of his journal a whole like spreadsheet of all the things that he wants to do in the day, and
Oh, love
then
that.
every day, and then he just marks in at the end of the day without judgment. Right? A lot of times, oh, let me put it there. I did a little bit, so I'll say as if I did it. Like, no, like without judgment, like know what you did, know what you didn't do, and the things that are important for you to get done through your day, whether it's personal, whether it's for your business, whether it's health, whatever it is, put on like a list, whether it's an Excel spreadsheet or your journal, whatever it is, and then just mark it down. Did I do it? Did I not do it? And therefore you can really understand what's going on and what you're doing, what you're not doing. Because at the end of the day, we somehow find a way in our minds to tell ourselves that we're a certain way. But when we have like the information that's like black and white, and you can't really like lie about it because it's there. So then, like if I said, oh, I'm going to work out 5 days a week, and then I realized, I accidentally did it 3 days a week or twice a week for the last month, then I know where I need to focus on more. So it's really understanding yourself and gathering information. Most people don't know what they're even doing, and they're not taking an accounting and auditing themselves. So I would say even just start there. It's like, what are my ideals that I want to be doing? Am I doing them? Am I not doing them? And what do I need to do to get better at doing them?
I love that. Thank you. Thank you. And I got something similar, which audience, of course, doesn't know, but I actually did share my checklist
Right. Yeah.
with Bennett folks. So when I was sharing them this, it wasn't coincidence. But yeah, you need to have that, and it develops into a routine. And I'll be honest, there's days that I'm going to be following this checklist, or because of work, I can't get to everything
Right.
in regards to that checklist. But it's one of those things where I could go back to it and say, okay, I wanted to do 5 days this week working out, but I only did 2. All right, so now the next week. And people tend to beat themselves up when they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't get what I needed to get done. And it's like, it's okay. You got another day on this earth,
Right.
make it happen. Now, we talked about consultants. They're just giving the answers. They talked about therapists. If you need it, you need it. But with a coach, and a coach such as Bennett Schwartz, how can someone get in contact with you to get more information about you, or just even schedule a session with you?
Yeah. So I'm very active on LinkedIn. You can definitely find me on LinkedIn over there, Bennett Schwartz. I'm also on Instagram at Coaching with Bennett, so you can find me over there and reach out to me. I'm in the middle of working on a website. I'll give you my email, Bennett at bwschwartz.com. And you could email me and reach out. What I like doing is I sometimes even, advise people with coaching. So a lot of people come to me and say, I want coaching. And sometimes it's not a right fit for me. And I honestly, I want to be excited about coaching whoever it is that I'm coaching. So I want to be able to really help the people that I'm helping. If I'm not able to help them that I want to, but I'll actually help, guide them to maybe a different coach that I know, or maybe different, circle of people that might be able to help. So like this one time I had somebody reach out to me and she was like, oh, I want coaching. And it came out after our conversation, she really wants consulting, which was fine. But I said, like, I can't help you on that. Like, I'm not going to be consulting you, and then I'm going to be coaching you. And she's like, that's not what I want. I'm like, then it's not, like, it doesn't make sense for me. So really just helping people and advising people. And I'll even like for your guests, I'll gift them with a free session. Somebody wants to reach out and wants to feel, what's the deal with the coaching. So I'll give them like a free 40-minute session, and we can really sit down. And even if you end up using me or not, you'll be able to understand and get the insight of coaching, and really be able to help you. Even through that one session, I believe I'll be able to help you, or give you like at least some guidance in terms of what are the next steps that you would need to take.
Absolutely. In regards to steering that ship. And you talked about the young lady that you were talking with, that she wanted to go in a different path. But who is like your ideal individual? people might just say, as you
Right.
mentioned, like, I want coaching. I need a coach, I need to get my life together. But who is that ideal person that comes to you and sits down with you for 40 minutes? And I'm not saying this as far as pushing people away, saying like, oh, well, that doesn't apply to me.
Right.
But when you're looking at that client and you actually want somebody to work with to be better, who is
Right.
that ideal person?
Yeah, so I would say my unicorn, my avatar
Yeah.
of somebody I'm looking to coach. But like you said, like it depends on the situation, it depends on what's going on. But in general, I'm looking for somebody who would consider themselves a high performer. That doesn't mean they need to be making millions of dollars a year. High performer is somebody who's just ambitious, somebody who's looking to put in the work, somebody who really take themselves seriously, and somebody who's looking to grow and would be willing to be open to hearing different ideas, to hearing themselves. Sometimes it's not easy to really, you know, get into the reality of who we really are. So somebody who's really looking to take their life to the next level, whether it's in their businesses or even just their mindset or their life, and really work on that. I do have some coaches who work in my practice. So I personally like doing the business and life coaching stuff. But I do have somebody who does health. I just does somebody who does relationships and parenting. So I have different people who work within my industry, but within my practice. But I'm looking for people who are really looking to take their lives to the next level and to get serious. Like if you're not serious, then it's just a waste of both of our times. So it's mostly people who are serious and ambitious and who are looking to really make those changes.
I love that. I love that. So, folks, you're listening, you're watching. You got to be serious. That's pretty much the easy formula, which I love. And then for yourself, coaches need coaches. Do you yourself
Yeah.
have a coach?
Yeah, so I actually have two coaches. One of the things that I advise people when they're actually looking for a coach is to see if they actually have a coach. If you're looking to hire a coach and they don't have a coach or they're not within a coaching group, it's usually a red flag because it shows that they're not really, preaching what they're speaking. So I personally have two coaches. I have one for my business and I actually have one on my mindset. So I have two personal coaches, and I think throughout my life, I'll have coaches in different areas of my life, whatever it is. But right now, that's what I'm doing.
I love that. I love that. Well, Bennett, I really appreciate having you on here. It's been some great information. One last question. I always love to ask my guests, what business advice do you pretty much keep in the back of your mind that keeps you going on a day to day, or like one of your favorite quotes that you go by?
Yeah. So one of my favorite quotes is by Jim Rohn, who was Tony Robbins's mentor when he first started getting started. And he says it's not what you make, but it's who you become. And too many people get so stuck with making money or growing in their businesses, and they don't realize that the opportunities that they can have to become somebody is going to be more important in the long run. And the bigger person somebody can become, the more successful they're actually going to be in all areas of their life. They're going to be a better parent. They're going to be a better business owner. They're going to be a better, sibling, whatever it is, that they're going to be better that way. So really working on yourself and becoming somebody great, and taking those experiences that we have opportunities to take and becoming somebody is something that I try living my life by, and just knowing that everything that I want to do, I want to make sure it's making me become a better person.
Love that. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. And then one last time, can you give us that contact information where folks can find you at on social media?
Yeah, LinkedIn, Bennett Schwartz, and on Instagram at Coaching with Bennett, and also my email, bennett@bwschwartz.com. Website coming soon.
Awesome. And if you're listening, that comes with a free 40-minute session. So
Yeah, make sure to reach out and make sure to mention Dan's name, and just so I know where you're coming from, and then I'll be able to give you that session, and I would love to be able to help if I can, and if not, I'd love to be able to guide you on somebody who could be able to help.
awesome. Awesome. Bennett, thank you again for coming on the show, and we'll be talking soon.
Amazing, Dan. Thanks so much for having me, and we'll look forward to being in touch.